So NBC News reporting that our DHS secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, said that he had asked DHS officials whether they were prepared for up to 400,000 people to try to enter the United States in October if that sort of if that Title 42 ability to expel people based on COVID rule that was handed down by the Trump administration, if that were lifted by the courts. And so that's basically what we have is our Homeland Security Secretary predicting 400,000 people are going to try to come into the country in just October alone if that Title 42 COVID policy goes away.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct on that issue. I'm going to take umbrage with a lot of the things that he says, but on that issue, he's absolutely correct. If Title 42 goes away and we're not able to expel people immediately under this health code that CDC has recognized, then we're going to just open up the floodgates because everybody is going to be released. I mean, right now, at least we're expelling about 40% of the people, which is kind of holding at bay this huge surge that's just waiting to come into the United States. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Haitians alone. Peru has reported that over 60,000 Haitians are passing through their country right now as we speak, coming to our southwest border. And that's just from one nation. Again, we're dealing with nations throughout the world. So yes, if that Title 42 were to go away, we're going to be in serious trouble, but we're also going to be in trouble because of the policies. So if we didn't have Title 42, when President Trump was able to control the border, we didn't have Title 42. He was able to control it through very savvy negotiations that he was able to do with Mexico. Mm-hmm. He went into Mexico and he demanded that they become true border security partners. And they did it because he was threatening tariffs. And those tariffs were greater than the amount of money that the cartels were able to make in their smuggling organizations. So the economy was going to take a hit. The Mexican economy was going to take a hit. So they agreed to implement the migrant protection protocols or Remain in Mexico program, which is what allowed us to drive illegal immigration to lows. So even if the Title 42 were to go away, which I don't want to see it go away, mm-hmm. but if it were to go away, the Biden administration would be able to control this through policy, which, by the way, doesn't cost the taxpayer a cent. He's not going to, because he's going to continue to appease his base, and his base wants open borders.
Can we talk about, yeah, of course, and it's the messaging that Biden has been handing down from the beginning. I mean, it's been all talk of asylum and letting folks stay, and the messaging matters. You know, it definitely matters. I mean, people knew under Trump that it was going to be a lot tougher than it was under Obama. We had Dennis Michael Lynch saying it could have been even tougher under Trump. He didn't like some of his softer language on DACA. But there's no question there was a big difference between Trump's rhetoric about the southern border than we've seen with Biden, who seems to be telegraphing the border's open, notwithstanding what Mayorkas says. Mayorkas says, fear not, the border's closed. In fact, we've got that soundbite. It's number 3. Here's DHS Secretary Mayorkas.
We heard the sheriff say it, the governor say it, and the migrants I spoke to say it. They are coming across because they believe they will be welcomed under the Biden administration. You said yourself 3 weeks ago, we're not saying don't come, we're saying don't come now. President Biden had a stronger message later, but the messages are mixed at best, Mr. Secretary.
Martha, good morning. The message is quite clear. Do not come. The border is closed. The border is secure.
Okay, so he says from this temperature-controlled studio, unlike you and your guys, you tell me what the truth is.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at the amount of drugs that are on the streets today. That shows that the border isn't secure. Look at the number of people that have been able to enter the country illegally and evade apprehension. That shows the border isn't secure. Look at the number of people that we're releasing with these NTAs under the catch and release program. That shows the border isn't secure. Criminal cartels listen to actions. They don't care about words. They're always going to watch the actions. And the actions of this administration is screaming loud and clear, our border is open. Go ahead and advertise your services throughout the world, because if they come, we're going to release them. That's the reason why we're seeing numbers that we've just never seen before in the history of the Border Patrol.
Mm-hmm. And now on top of, the COVID threat and just the criminality that comes, there's no question when you have this number of migrants crossing the southern border, whether they want to surround themselves with children that aren't really theirs in order to get in. There is an unhealthy criminal element in it. You also have to worry about the terrorism. And I think about it in the context of Afghanistan, because you got these two dueling crises in America where our Joint Chiefs Chairman, our Defense Secretary, everybody's saying we're less safe now as a result of Afghanistan, that there's no question Al-Qaeda is going to be back in Afghanistan trying to plot attacks, and we could see one within the next 12 months on the homeland. At the same time, you've got his name, Rodney Scott, right? He's a Border Patrol chief, and he comes out and says this about the terror threat that we're now looking at.
We have nation state threats. We have terrorist threats we can't get into in this type of a forum, but they're real, they exist, and they want to come across that border. Statistically, it always includes rapists, murderers, potential terrorists, every single year. To think that there's not just as bad or worse people and those getting away would be naive.
Okay, so this is what Trump was called a racist for over and over when he said that, when he came down the escalator and said, "I'm running." They're not sending their best people. They're sending rapists. They're sending murderers. Well, that's true. I mean, it's true. It doesn't mean that every single person crossing the southern border is one of those things, but we do need to worry about it.
We have a responsibility to know who is coming into this country. We have a responsibility to vet all of the people that are coming into this country. And when you have illegal immigration at the levels that we currently have, we can't do that. Let alone know who's coming across that are getting away. But all of these people that are coming across into our country, we can't do background checks on them in their own countries. We don't have access to their databases like what we do here in the United States. If somebody has a criminal record here in the United States, we're going to know about it because we fingerprint them. But we're not going to know about their criminal records in their own countries because we don't have that access. And we, of course, don't have the time to vet the number of people that are crossing the borders illegally, even if we are lucky enough to take them into custody. So, Chief Scott, he's absolutely correct. And then, of course, when you look at the 151 nations, I can tell you, I don't know of a single apprehension from Britain. I don't know of one from France, Germany, Italy. We don't know of apprehensions from those locations because those are well-developed countries. Those are countries that are friendly to the United States. The United Nations identifies 195 countries. Officially, they identify 195. We're apprehending people from 151 of those countries. A lot of those countries are not friendly to the United States. And those countries, as a government as a whole, they want to do harm to the United States. So yes, it is a very dangerous, when you consider the number of people and the number of countries, it is very dangerous to the American public what is coming in from the southwest border.